reinvented their game a little bit in these last 2 weeks, means the miles of scouting footage that Team Summon has formulated the plan on, like Scar just said, might not be relevant anymore.
And Twisted Fate finding his spot in the ban list. Still, Greg is coming out on one side, so it looks like a good amount of focus onto Skara for the beginning.
He had some big smiles on his face. He's like, I knew they were going to ban Gragas and Diana, because that's what happened to him against GGU when they were playing in the playoffs. They ended up knocking Dignitas down into this promotion game. So based on that smile that Skara had, he was saying, I'm ready for this.
And I feel like the first game is obviously, and we've heard it from the pro, is one of those where we're like, we're going to go in with what we want. Let's throw these at them and see how they react. It's really not, it doesn't look champion reaction to the picks right now.
Not yet. It very much looks like the power picks at this moment. Karthus and Zac looks a little bit like what Quantic would have been picking. There's like, we're going to pick Zac every single game, and we'll see if Sicko Scott can pull off some really good ganks in the jungle there with Zac. But, you know, I'm not sure what Dignitas has. If it's the old Dignitas, this is when they start picking like Kale or Zed for Scar right now. They've already banned Zed. And like a
hand in First Bloods twice in a row for the games and really helping Team Summon to push through in their best of 3 series.
And based on that Nocturne pick that Crumbs just locked in, that is something that Crumbs hasn't necessarily played. Nocturne was actually more of a DJ Lambo champion, funnily enough, who subbed for Dignitas in Week 9 once Dignitas actually started to go a little bit downhill. But I like the initiative of picking that this early from Crumbs. And then the Caitlyn is obviously just for I'm a Cutie Pie. When he's had Caitlyn, he's really played well in lane.
You know, it's funny you mentioned the Nocturne pick as well, because I remember just like overhearing them when they went for the DJ Lambo to tell him, they're like, who can you play? And he's like, Nocturne, Hecarim. They're like, go Hecarim, Hecarim. But they went Nocturne. So they're doing it again here. So maybe they did, like you said, within the past week, find a way to work these champions in.
Looking at Team Summon now, they're getting the Thresh Tristana combo, which is actually a little bit strange. It's very safe in lane if they want to just farm, but it's not necessarily the most kill potential combo. Tristana's laning phase isn't known as being super strong, even though Thresh's laning phase is, so it's a bit of a mismatch of support.
Unless you're Neon Tonsil.
Unless you're Neon Tonsil, then you get double kills.
All day. So we'll have to see how they decide to work that. As of right now, we are looking at the poke lane from Dignitas, probably the swap coming in from Team Summon, so they don't have to.
Goes on champion binges, where he'll just play nothing but one champion, and then if those champions get nerfed or taken down a bit, he didn't have much to go back on, and I think that's what happened late in the season. So in these 2 weeks off, maybe he's went back to his original champions here with the Elise pick, or we might have something new for the rest of the series.
So Grim Samurai did some damage with Zed. It was quickly banned out by Dignitas. It looks like he might actually get that Zac in the top lane. Yeah.
A little swap around there. Fooled us all because we've been seeing so much Zac jungle, we forgot about the Zac top lane. And that's going to be really interesting. I wonder if that catches Dignitas a little bit off guard. One of the strengths of Elise in top lane is her ability to just repetitively harass you and take you lower and lower on health. But Zac, at least on this patch, has the highest base health regen in the game. So it might actually be really good against Elise dealing with that poke, especially a couple other things that Zac has to do, like when he uses spells, he will always heal up for using the spell if he's below 99% health, so that could be a good pick.
And Zac kind of offers to a team, which I find pretty cool, I'm thinking about right now, is the fact that Let's Bounce, he can dive to the back line for the poke comp, which you want to be able to do, but he can also get back and help in the end of Let's Bounce. He can get back out, and it's really good for him as well, because it's one of the ultimates that allows the team to also gap close with you, because you're still doing it. It's not a Jarvan Cataclysm, hey guys, what are you still doing back there? So bringing so much to the team, even from jungle or top.
And just really generally about these two team compositions, this could be a really brawly game. The only real disengage across either of these teams is the Karthus wall, but Karthus usually likes to fight inside teams. Nocturne will go in with Evelyn, who will go in with Elise as far as Dignitas goes, and then Team Summon, it's the Zac attack from the top lane just running in with Volibear. I'm expecting a very high kill game if fights happen early.
Well, these guys haven't been in the studio for quite some time, so getting those new champions in, they haven't been really able to get themselves fully set with the bindings because they weren't in game yet, and now they are. So here we are starting off the first match here in our final Sunday. That's kind of the promotion Sunday. These teams looking to get into the LCS. Team Dignitas being demoted from the season, now looking to reclaim their spot. Team Summon looking to take that away.
And look at the double rejuve beat already from Grim Samurai. So he already has the highest base health region in the game. If I actually look at his character sheet, he's going to be starting the game with 31 health per 5, which means he's also went with probably health regen runes or masteries at some point in there. That's going to be very difficult for Kiwi Kid to harass, and I really want to see how that top lane matchup plays out if they decide to 1v1.
Well, he knows he's kind of in that, or in the position where he doesn't want to fight in the 2v1 lane. He knows it's as bad, so maybe he's saying, I'm completely safe, I'm putting on the hard hat for this one, and going for the long haul in lane unless I get help from Crumbs.
Look at those wards. Deep-ish from Dignitas. Team Summon, very defensive wards. They decided not to run in for any kind of blue buff stealing. Gotta always worry about that if you're running up against an Elise and a Caitlyn. You could get Caitlyn trapped or just hit by an Elise cocoon, so you do have to be very, very cautious with where you go.
And it looks like Dig may go back to some old strategy of putting the AD carry support mid. We've seen this quite a bit from teams nowadays to pressure that mid lane and really keep a lot more control to the map.
And Dignitas was the first team in North America to actually do that, and it worked to great success for them, and they did it when they had the Caitlyn. Not entirely sure where they're going here, but what we maybe could see is either late invade or just waiting for Team Summon to react to them somehow. That's a late invade that's going to be walking through a ward for Dignitas, so let's see how Team Summon reacts to this one.
Yeah, they did bounce back and forth on whether they're going mid or not. If they can definitely get this to Skara, he may take that bottom lane to himself. We'll see what they can do. The ward goes down, so Samurai is going to be pushed off of this, but just for vision.
Yeah, but he has Smite. No, he doesn't have Smite. He's not a jungler. What are you looking at, Jed? He's going to be able to take this one away. And I was like, this is foolish. He's going to get the Smite steal.
He's Riv.
He's Riv.
He's Riv. So, Captain Korea farming out in mid. That's not going to be too bad for him. We'll see what he goes for. He has the mana regen on him, but it is going to be hurting Volibear a little bit. Like we've seen in past games, Karthus doesn't always need the blue buff, so if Volibear can get through it, they're going to be all right if they can keep going with the second one.
It's going to be a little tricky at the start of the game because they've given up 3 of the 4 big jungle camps already to Dignitas, but as long as they can persist through this, they will be okay with it.
This is something we used to see back from Team Solo Mid in Season 2, is where they would come into your jungle, get 300, 400 gold up, which the gold hasn't been in Dignitas, but you pressure it so hard, the jungler isn't able to come back to the lanes because he's trying to get back. His camps aren't there.
And he's not even level 3 yet. Like, Volibear can't even gank until he gets his Rolling Thunder, his Q spell, and he's not even going to be able to pick it up off these wolves, so it definitely gives the lane some added level of safety just based off of the play that happened a minute and a half ago. It means AmaCutiePie can be up here trying to deny Grim Samurai last hits, and it means all the other lanes can pretty much do what they want.
Yeah, because considering, right, this would be Volibear down to his blue and then down to help.
He'd be ganking right now if they wouldn't have stolen that.
So to the top lane now, Otter, Locust putting some damage onto this turret. Looks like they want to go fast damage on this, and nobody's even there. As we see Kiwi Kid now returning to lane, and the Volatile Spider really not even helping him to clear. They're going to get that to about half health, but not too much is going to come from that. Yeah.
That's a new level of passivity for Kiwi Kid in those 1v2 lanes. It's like, don't feed, stay way back. If they hook you, just give some stuff up. Please don't die, and that's definitely how he's playing that lane. Might even be a little too passive, but he's waited long enough for Crumbs to give him backup, and now he's moving up to get those last hits of turret.
We have to be careful, right? Because they actually go in, they do get the cocoon on to Thresh. Locust taking some damage, forcing the flash there, and that's going to be Crumbs coming back around probably in a few minutes. Is Samurai low in the bot lane, too.
One benefit Grim Samurai has on Zac in this lane is if they do kill him on the turret, he has that one passive clock, and then they have to kill the 4 little blob babies under the turret, and that's actually very difficult to do at a low level, so he's fairly confident sitting around that turret at low health because he doesn't think that AmaCutiePie and Patoy would be able to finish off the blobs.
So Kiwi Kid still doing a good job of playing the mind games in the top lane, is to not make Team Summon aware of that gank coming in. Getting a good flash down on Locust, as we said. We'll see if Crumbs decides to return. Actually, he's already there as I look at the minimap, and he will be trying to come back in. But he's already present in the lane, so really just soaking up the experience.
And Dignitas definitely knows that Sicko Scott is there, and Sicko Scott should have realized that he was going to walk through a ward because that was a pink ward that cleared out a Team Summon ward when they were stealing the blue. And he should have had the 3-minute timer on that, so if he would have waited about another 20 seconds to walk through that area, he could have gotten through without the ward seeing him, because right now he's essentially just wasting time. Unless he waits long enough for plausible deniability of Dignitas saying there's no way he's still there.
So he actually tries to come in onto this one. There's the Caliber net backwards. Sicko is kind of on his way to 4, and we almost have an already level 5 Crumbs since he's been soaking up experience in the top lane, and he's up in CS. So this is going to be big. That ultimate's going to come for Dignitas sooner than later in the jungle.
I like it when teams do this with their jungler, especially on a jungler like Nocturne, who really wants to hit level 6 to get the majority of his map pressure. You're already in a bad situation when you're in that 1v2 force, so you might as well share experience. You get a bonus when you have 2 people getting lane experience together, and it's just going to help Dignitas overall, as well as making sure that Dignitas doesn't lose that top turret before they're ready to.
So as we see, you know, the new adaptations in the inventory, it's not really new, but the rejuve beads coming out a lot more. Is this kind of pressured from the 350 on the elixir? You have to diversify your starting buys now?
People are definitely trying to figure out ways that aren't red elixir.
Right, okay.
One of the big things about the red elixir wasn't even the red elixir, it was the 6 health potions. So if you start double rejuve bead, you're basically just trying to sustain in a more natural fashion.
All right. We'll see that sustain coming in for Kiwi Kid up top. He was able to keep himself in the lane, but they have gone for flasks as well, so they're looking to drink those down and sustain even more. We do have the Captain Korea going for the tier. As we said, he made before with that pressure on the blue buff from Dignitas, so he'll be looking to keep that stack going.
And Scar and Captain Korea have really just been happily farming with each other in that lane. Now is the point in time where Scar is going to want to roam around a little bit more. Scar had that one bit of roam at level 5 where he went up to not really make something happen, but now with his Evelyn ultimate, he should be able to make some plays, since with the tier of the Goddess Karthus, Karthus isn't really looking to get aggressive. So either Scar is going to just jump on him once Crumbs hit 6 and they're going to double gank him, or Scar is going to try to roam around and gank with Nocturne in another way.
So Crumbs is the team Abacus. As they heard before, you see some pink ward damage going down in fights. So he should have that flash on Locust in the top lane, right? You're saying he's going to hit 6. He wants that map pressure. They could look to get this out of the straight lane ganker. He may get it from Wolves and then head up there.
And that's one of the big things that Nocturne does, is he's able to walk in through the lane ganks. And I really have to point out the pink ward battle that Scar just won with Captain Korea in the mid lane. Getting that pink ward out of the center mid lane really enables his roaming more, because anytime Scar pushes the wave up like that and comes back, Captain Korea won't be able to see it unless he's in danger zone.
And there's a ghost from Sicko Scott as he makes his way in. He takes to the ground on all 4s. Cutie Pie goes back. He still has the net. They're trying to initiate with a Requiem. Captain Korea 6. There's the first blood coming in. It goes to Grim Samurai. He's been doing so well for his team.
That was a really smart gank by Sicko Scott. So there's a trick that Caitlyn players like to do to land harass, and it's they shoot out their 90 caliber net, and as they're fading away, they'll shoot the Q out, because it makes them slow, so they're less likely to dodge the Q, and you also get both damage things done. But once Simon Cutie Pie did that, he used his escape, and Sicko Scott popped his ghost, just ran him down, and knew I'm Cutie Pie only had his flash to get away. That's why they got the kill.
So the pressure in the bottom lane has been had, and it's not going to be reactivated in the top lane by Dignitas. That turret goes down. They don't get to work off that flash of Locust, but it is going to be a 6 for Crumbs, so there is action to be had here by them. It's just where they decide to put it.
And it looks like they might want to get something going bottom lane, as Scar is roaming down, as well as Crumbs taking the double golems. But Team Summon does seem a little bit ready for it, as well as Crumbs being quite low on health in that situation, so we may have to wait a little bit longer to see that gank happen.
We see just boots coming out right off the bat for Scar. Is this roam enabling?
It's roam enabling. It's also just to get that early bit of magic penetration in the cheapest way possible.
Okay.
Evelyn has pretty good base damages early on in the game, and he's just wanted to make sure that every little bit counts. Since Captain Korea is not really fighting back at him, Scar can get away without building defensive items at this point.
So they trade turrets on both sides of the map. The 300 gold lead going in favor of Dignitas right now. As the pinks go down, Scar throws out the ultimate. Locust is there. He is forced to use his flash as he just gets it back up. So that's a constant one for him.
And now Dignitas is actually, yeah, they would be too foolish to think about the dragon because Crumbs wasn't there.
Right.
So Scar did burn his ultimate for a Locust flash. It's arguable which one is better for that. Obviously, the flash cooldown is longer than the Evelyn cooldown, but if a team fight happens within the cooldown of Scar's ultimate, it'll actually be better for Locust to have lost that flash, since the E-Vault is so powerful in team fights.
And is this something we usually see, that Crumbs being a kind of camp-heavy jungler instead of being in the lanes? Because he's already got that core item in the Elder Lizard, and it's really just the stone for Sickle Scott right now.
Crumbs is definitely one of those junglers who tries to take control of the game early and just have as much presence as possible in the lanes. He hasn't done that yet, but it's been because he's preparing for pretty much this moment. He wants to make a gank happen right now, since he's hit that item threshold where he knows he's ahead of Sicko Scott, and he's trying to make a play in the bottom lane. But I don't know if Team Summon's given him the opportunity. Looks like Volibear is there for a potential counter gank if something goes down.
They are looking for the press R moment. The window's open with Requiem down right now, so they need to make this happen if they're gonna.
And also, if they jump on Locust, they know he can't flash away. That's one of the reasons Locust is trying to stay so far back, because he knows if he gets Nocturne ult that he's dead.
And they can see that Dig is just playing differently here. They're not pushing up. They're not doing as much poke damage to aggress off, and they're saying, this is completely different. We don't know where Crumbs is. Let's just stay at a turret. And
this might actually be giving Team Summon the idea that Dignitas is actually trying to set up a Nocturne gank, but Team Summon's had enough of it. They're willing to just run straight forward to get the ward in the brush, and they're actually guessing that Crumbs is back. as they go for Cutie Pie.
They're going now. Requiem has just come up, actually, for Captain Korea, so they can go as hard as they want on this. Requiem comes out. It's going to be Otter taking down Cutie Pie. They may follow up. The Locust hitting the death sentence, and they take him down. It's going to be a 1-1 on Otter and Locust.
More bottom lane kills, and Scar might be coming in. Crumbs might ult soon.
Oh, he's going for the I think I can strategy, but can they do it together? The buddy system comes in. Locust very low. The ignite in the shield, but it's the Duskbringer to take him down from Crumbs, putting terrifying nightmares in his head, and it looks like they're able to get out of this one, saving the red buff, but Captain Korea comes bottom, and they may try to pressure this turret hard.
Dignitas gets 1 kill back for the 2 they gave up by burning both of their ultimates and all of their summoner spells here. Doesn't look like they'll lose the turret, but they may end up losing the dragon. That was a good counterattack for Dignitas to get at least a kill on the board, and because of the farming they've been doing, before this dragon goes down, they do have a slight lead in gold.
And we see that within those lanes, Grim Samurai went to buy health, and it seems to have been hurting him in this top lane as that action in the bottom lane goes down. The HP is there. He goes for the bounce. The rappel is up. Can he get back down? He saves himself from certain death.
And Samurai did have his passive up on Zac, and that's why Kiwi Kid didn't decide for the all-out tower dive, because it would have ended up killing Kiwi Kid. He's hoping to pop the passive now, but Kiwi Kid knows he wouldn't be able to finish him off on the turret. With all that action, knowing the team someone went back, this is a hard Dragon Force, and we could see another fight fairly soon if Carson Thresh decide to go, but it does seem like Dignitas made it to the Dragon soon enough to pick this one up. Good play.
They were evenly going back and forth up to this moment. We now finally have a gold lead. 1,000 gold in the favor of Dignitas, but that first blood was in favor of Team Summon, so we'll have to see if they can continue to work the small advantages they have. We've seen a bit of focus down in the bottom lane, but everything's going to switch now. As I said, the lane's back to normal. AD and support bottom as Grim Samurai heads top.
This game has really all been about the bottom lane. It keeps happening that AmaCutiePie catches himself doing the Caitlyn harass combo, and that's when the Sickle Scott gank comes in. So they're actually just countering the Caitlyn lane advantage quite well by punishing it with ganks at the right time. And look at this. Sickle Scott's not even joking around anymore. He's saying,
nope,
yeah, we're going to have a 3-man lane. He's another support almost in this game. It's a 34 minion kill Volibear when compared to 126 from Karthus. That is not a jungling jungler. That is a laning jungler.
Does not want to be in the jungle whatsoever. They are going over to check out the dragon. They're getting some pings on here. And look, Thresh's ult and Karthus ult about to come up again, so they're acting on it. They know they can create more pressure here.
And since Captain Korea pushed up that lane, they're just getting a bit of damage on this turret while Dignitas tries to come up and approach. The wall actually cuts them off quite well, and they got a heap of damage on that turret.
So prepping that one for anything they may need, as well as a even juicier dive here in the next few minutes. At 3-1, they are looking for blood. They're getting those kills. One onto Thresh, which is not going to hurt too bad. They do have one in the 80 carry and Grim Samurai. Answering is only Crumbs right now as they give the blue buff over to Captain Korea. Probably back to mid here. Looks like they've kind of shut down the laning phase now.
Captain Korea might become a bit of an issue as well because of all the roaming Scar has been trying to do without creating too much action.
Right.
Captain Korea has been farming up a storm. He's more than 10 CS per minute, or pretty much exactly 10 CS per minute. 136 at 13 minutes 30. Considering minions don't spawn until 1:40 means he's on quite a hefty clip there, matching Scar in gold, mainly because of the global advantage that Dignitas has. But when a Karthus gets going like that against a full dive team like Dignitas, if Dignitas doesn't get something going soon that's more of an advantage, they could run into a lot of late game troubles.
Otter in his item build, going for just a BF sword right now, so we don't know what late game troubles he's going to be producing. It's probably going to be that Infinity Edge though, which is completed on Cutie Pie 14 minutes in.
Yeah, that's a big item breakpoint for AmaCutiePie to hit. He didn't buy boots, which is in itself kind of strange, since the whole reason he's died twice is because he's getting ran down by the fast bear, so you maybe want to buy a bit of movement speed. But if he can avoid those gank situations, he is way stronger in a straight-up fight.
He's like, Sona, just keep the movement speed aura on and we'll be okay. 15 minutes towards the top lane. Grim Samurai in a tit for tat with Kiwi Kid, but that is completely being won by Kiwi, using all of his long range abilities to his advantage. And he keeps Grim Samurai under half health during that laning phase. Scar here now back in mid with Captain Korea. They have the blue buffs on, but really teams aren't trying to push towards anything. It's kind of what we saw as we were watching the match yesterday. I was casting with Kobe. Oh no, going in on Kiwi Kid. He gets a little too antsy on the fight, but he knows Crumbs is there. Grim Samurai locked up. A few more attacks coming in. Crumbs gets one. Here comes the Requiem down. The red buff actually going to Sicko Scott. No, did he get himself a red buff? This should have gone to Captain.
That was kills upon kills. He already had the red buff from his own jungle.
So Captain got one.
And that was terrible, but Dignitas on the counter.
The crescendo counter him in. Captain Korea looks to go down here. The Requiem's down, but they're fighting on Defile. Patoy is walking right through it. Stop doing that. He's going to be taken down. Otter's one. Patoy does go down, and Skara cannot finish off Locust.
More action upon more action. So there's 3 people dead on Dignitas right now to 2 on Team Summon. Both teams are getting lanes pushed back and forth because when a team goes all in aggressive, they're actually giving themselves vulnerability somewhere else.
They have some good attack speed on this turret in the top lane. They might not have good damage, but they're definitely going to be swinging at it copious amounts of time. Skara looking to do something on the right side. Elise up, Elise down, and here he comes. Oh, the blast onto Cinco. Scotty doesn't have the resistances yet, and it looks like they'll pick up 2 on a real far push. The red buff's going to keep him in range. He's going to be able to pick up blobs if there are any.
What a great moment for Dignitas on the comeback there. After giving up the kill to Grim Samurai's passive, essentially, while Karthus came in for the ultimate, they get all of the kills back. They knew there was no passive on Zac. Scar flanked around the back. Some of the power of the permanently invisible Evelynn while they roam around really caught Team Summon a little bit off guard. You can tell Team Summon was super confident after the kills they just approached in the top lane and said, we're going to be able to push down this turret. Did not see Scar coming, and they paid.
So with the aggression of the lanes right now, the buy is coming back in. How are they going to stop the pressure of Nocturne split pushing top? Because Dignitas is going to start resorting to the let's go with all 3 lane push.
I think it's going to be one of these games where we just see fights all the time, because their teams are all in compositions. They don't have much disengage, and just the way these teams want to play, like Dignitas, they want to roam around and force fights, but Team Summon seems pretty content also just trying to run people down with Volibear. So no matter where Dignitas goes, Team Summon will follow and continue to get fights. And then if Team Summon goes too far in a situation, Skara or Crumbs have that ridiculous closing potential and can punish them.
All right, so looks like we've got about 20 more seconds on the Requiem ride all the way to the bank. We'll see if they try to activate something on Team Summon's side. Dignitas has been caught off guard by Requiem in 2 occasions of their engagements, but at 6-5, they have also found their ways to get their foot in the door and get kills onto the board. 26,000 gold right now to 24,000. A turret kill helping that lead along with the Dragon.
And Crumbs might experience some fall off in about the next 15 minutes. He's got a power spike right now. He still hasn't button boots, but he's trying to get either an Aegis or a Lock of the Iron Shalari very quickly, and they need to push their advantage now. Nocturne is not a good champion late game for diving in. He'll pretty much dive in, and he loses his ability to solo people once a certain point happens in the game. So it's a good thing Dignitas is all grouped up here trying to take the Dragon, because they need to expand on this 2,000 gold advantage as quickly as possible.
So there's a second one. Where they move will tell us what the idea is, and it's to keep Crumbs split pushing, and yes, they will start to go for that 3-lane pressure.
And that's back to basics for Dignitas, trying to shove out all the lanes, but because they grouped up so much at the Dragon, they're losing that little booba.
Yep. Go ahead and take that away. Not going to be good. Kiwi Kid just off on the side. He's like, yeah, it's probably happening, guys. We're not going to do much about it. And you better be careful in mid. Patoy, they have eyes on him as to re-pressure bottom and try to push off Tristana. Patoy's forced to use the ultimate to pressure off. This mid turret's going to take some damage, though.
And it depends how long Team Summon wants to stick around, because they do not know where Dignitas is, and they know that there's no Otter to help them in a team fight. That's why Team Summon got out of there and said, I think we're a little scared, while Cutie Pie and Scar might go in. That's the jump!
Oh, he jumped, and then he went for the paranoia, or Terrify going in. He goes down. You can see Otter so disgruntled after that.
It is really hard for them to keep track of what Dignitas is doing right now, and you can tell they're getting dictated to. Because if they would have pushed up that mid lane, they would have been daring Dignitas to fight them there. But because they backed off, it allowed Dignitas the freedom to spend multiple ultimates just to pick off a little old Tristana in the bottom lane. So really good play by Dignitas there, containing Team Summon.
So we'll see if they can continue to do that. As we look down, there was some containment in the mid. Great job by Captain Korea at 2-0-1. 201 CS at 3-1-2 for his kills. And it's 3-0-3. And it's funny because the AP mids, they're probably 200 gold apart. They are having great games for themselves, making the plays. Skara finally getting some kills in for himself as they take down another turret, increase that gold lead.
Yeah, and what Scar's missing in minion kills, he's making up for in other ways. Even though the kills and assists look pretty much exactly the same, it's 4 turrets to 2, 2 dragons to 0. So that's a lot of global gold advantage that he's accumulated for himself, and that's what's making up for the 50 missing.
So we have a Seraph's Embrace already charged up 20 minutes into the game for Captain Korea.
That is a very fast Seraph's, and we knew at the start of the game that once Captain Korea rushed that tier, and when Scar wasn't trying to go aggressive on him, instead trying to roam, he was going to get going pretty fast. So that Karthus, if they find some team fights, will be even more defensive in a sense, where he'll be able to go in, pop that mana shield from the Seraph's Embrace, and just sit with the file for longer and maybe make some impact. That's why Dignitas is roaming around so much and doesn't really want those team fights to happen.
And the acceleration and I'm a Cutie Pie's build right to the Infinity Edge has seemed to put him over the build of Otter, unless Otter just hasn't gone back recently. No, he just came off the Fountain. So not getting the boots first, rushing the Infinity Edge, allowing them to win some fights, get some kills and assists, and he has the boots and the Zeal now.
It's a 80 carry build where you skip the Vamp Scepter, so we've seen a lot of that in the past. As Scar just goes.
He does go right in. The Assassination of Eve coming out to play as well, and Locust does not want to, but he goes down. A double kill for Skara, 5-0 and 3, and he had just picked up that Abyssal Scepter, so coming in big.
Big time coordination coming out from Dignitas, and it's still Dignitas punishing Team Summon for not being grouped up, because Dignitas is doing the 3-lane push, but instead of just strictly 3-lane pushing, Dignitas is roaming around a lot more than we saw in the last couple weeks, and they really do seem a little bit back on their game here as they push up the mid lane.
They are dictating these fights. They have the disengage. No, the crescendo was used actually last fight, so they don't have the disengage that they want. Let's bounces up. Karthus comes up in 3 seconds. They're going to have to be careful for that Requiem. But like you said, Jat, they're keeping him spread thin, so they can't really come into the engage if they want to. Cutie Pie pushing bottom by himself.
Yeah, he nearly killed Otter by himself with that item advantage. He probably crit him a few times and then popped that ace in the hole to get him super, super low. So that was a good bit of harass. Dignitas has decided to back out, though, because they know how many ultimates they used to get the initial pressure off. And since Team Summon has all of them up and all their people up right now, it's reset time. Dignitas going to wait for the next opportunity.
And it looks like, as we're coming in the buys here, we can see Dignitas kind of synergizing around a lot. We saw a lot of Aegis yesterday and hardly any Locket. Today we see Locket, and it seems like Dignitas says pick up some kind of selfish lane magic resistance for yourself, because I'm not doing it yet.
Yeah, Crumbs is not the type of guy who rushes the Aegis. He'll rush the Locket of the Iron Solari. When we saw him on all his junglers, whether it was Xin Zhao, whether it was Vi, he's building that Locket of the Iron Solari. It's kind of the way he plays as well. He's always been a very good counter ganker as a jungler, so getting that Locket of the Iron Solari really fits his style even better, because he can come in to save a gank and just pop it off.
He's just sitting there with it on, trying to get extra damage. They're not even near him, but he can. And he's even losing mana. No, probably not.
That has got to be a little bit of a spectator bug. It's not on. The Defile is not on.
Oh, it's not on.
I'm sorry to spoil it for everybody.
Aww.
We'll know when it's on.
Okay.
He'll be doing damage and losing mana.
I thought he was just like pulling an absolute zero forever.
That would be real cool.
It would be cool.
It'd be expensive.
It would be expensive. It's just had tons of regen. So we'll see what they do as they start positioning their wards for Baron, but not really the bodies yet. They're still in a pretty bad spot to engage this one. As they clear it out, they're making sure to stay safe at the same time.
And this is a huge amount of pink wards that Dignitas has actually placed down. When they were doing all the shenanigans, killing Otter over and over again in the bottom lane, they had wiped out the blue side of the jungle for Team Summon with pink wards, and it just made it so Otter had no safety. Dignitas is trying to do the same thing around the Baron so they can get a team fight, but this time Team Summon is actually all grouped up together, so if they get a fight, they potentially have to team fight on Karthus instead of just killing Karthus before the fight.
And so at 8-6, 24 minutes in, it's going to be 6,000 gold in the favor of Dignitas being thrown in the face of Team Summon for this fight. Looks like they back off. They don't want the money bag just yet, but they could look for some shutdown. Scar is going to be a big kill here. I don't think Crumbs went full 2 kills, so it's only going to be 1 they're getting the gold back on. But that shutdown will be real nice to give to Otter right now.
They really need to win a team fight here, because when you are falling behind in the game, the most important thing to do is kill the guy with the most kills, because he gives that huge extra bonus. Scar is actually catching up in minion kills a little bit too, being able to clear out those big waves in the side, and this third time might be the charm here if Team Summon gets the team fight.
Could be big. You see the ultimate could be locked onto anybody from Crumbs, and he goes to the back line, actually right onto Captain Korea. Seraph's Embrace goes down, a beautiful crescendo goes across, but they're all in the Defile still. They take down Karthus right away. Here comes the Requiem. Dignitas looking good so far in the HP. Cutie Pie with great positioning on the fight. Peel from Skara, but attack from Skara as well. Patoy staying on the back line. They keep the heals, they keep the speed. They continue the fight. Otter getting hit up. The flash coming in, the barrier summoner spell coming out, and he gets Buster Shot backwards.
It was still a 3-for-2 for Dignitas, and they got the third dragon as well. The combo between Crescendo and Skara's Evelynn ultimate in that fight destroyed the majority of Team Summon. It allowed him and Cutie Pie to sit in the back and just auto-attack to his heart's content. Plus, they got the other two so low that Dignitas could take a turret off the back of that fight.
So it looks like they are going to take one, maybe two. No, everybody's up. The timer is still quite low, but that's good for Dignitas. If you are pressuring this quickly and they're up in your face already, that means you're doing some good things.
8,000 gold advantage, too, only 25 minutes into the game. So they're really starting to take control. And this is what they needed to do about 10 minutes ago.
Yes.
And that's why Crumbs has been forcing so hard into these team fights. He's died twice on Nocturne, but that's what Nocturne does. He dove in and got a bunch of Captain Korea damage, as well as I'm a Cutie Pie pulling off a great steal as well.
You know, like you said, he jumps in on Captain Korea. They blew that Saracen Brace right away, and it kind of didn't stop any damage. Nobody was able to focus him, so it went to waste.
It was true. He never got into the fight as much as he needed to because everyone got locked down by that crescendo, and he wasn't able to just straight walk in. It's going to be a matter of can he get to his death cap when his Requiem really starts hitting them, or will Dignitas end the game before that happens?
So we see Otter finally getting that attack speed into his build. I'm sure he's already been hitting that Q up. Yes, level 5 on his rapid fire, so he has that 90% attack speed to come in for 7 seconds. Pretty nice when you don't have the attack speed yet. It makes up for quite a bit of money.
Pretty awesome. He's actually went for the quick attack speed build on Tristana. Like a lot of Tristanas yesterday, like Neon Tanso, would actually max their E on Tristana really early on in the game for just the lane harassment and kind of make up for that mid-game lull. But this time Otters just went all attack speed because he's trying to get out of the mid-game as quickly as possible. Because late game Tristana is all about the range and the 90% attack speed.
A 6-0 and 5 Deathfire Grass picked up by Skara here. They are waiting on some summoner spells from Dignitas that got him into that fight and out of that fight quite strong. So we'll see if Captain Korea can get himself to where he needs to be this time.
And where Skara is positioning himself right now makes me think he wants to flank around the back. That's what Evelyn always likes to do. But with this maneuvering that Team Summon's trying to do, Dignitas is actually going to be pressuring the mid inhibitor turret and maybe try to force a fight, cutting them off in the jungle, or just taking the turret up straight up.
Now Dignitas trying to dictate the fight as it comes out. There's the elastic slingshot right into Cutie Pie, but he misses. The slow's not there. 2 shots, and Grim Samurai is forced to bounce out of the fight as he wanted to bounce in. Grim is very low. Passive up. Looks like he could go down here. No, the passive is down. They just keep shutting down. There it is onto Skara. That is going to be some good goal for Captain Korea. Sickle shot goes down as well. I'm a Cutie Pie just going ham. Triple kill in the end. 16-9 as Dignitas finds the ace in a chaotic fight.
What an awesome fight for Dignitas. Skara and Patoy just wrecked the entire backline of Team Summon. And even though Captain Korea died in a pretty good spot, it didn't matter because Dignitas had done enough work on the rest of Team Summon to just roll through them in the rest of the fight.
Looks like they have the inhibitor. It's still those low timers though. Dignitas taking it to Team Summon right now, really putting that chokehold on.
Next inhibitor going down. Maybe if they decide to keep going, they're afraid of the death timers because they don't want to give up a Baron. That is smart play by Dignitas, and they're going to be backing up, shopping, and continuing what they've been doing the rest of this game.
So as we look at some of the inventories now after Dignitas backs and gets some purchases in, we see Team Summon clearing out that base, trying to regroup now. It's going to be ward coverage coming in for these guys. A few more small items, a chalice for Patoy as well, as he starts to build into a little bit of damage, or sustain for now, but maybe some damage.
Chalice is a great item for Sona, just because Sona's really constrained by the amount of spells she can cast, not necessarily by the frequency with which she can cast them. So the Chalice will allow him to sustain if they do any kind of back and forth poke, especially at maybe a sustained Baron Siege of some kind. I'm a Cutie Pie now, has the big 3 items, still doesn't care about the Vamp Scepter because he'd be going for either Bloodthirster or Blade of the Ruined King later, but just comparing those 3 items to Otter's 3 items, Otter's 3 items are like a Zeal and a Vamp Scepter. That's not a Phantom Dancer and a Last Whisper, sir, and you are way weaker than Caitlyn at this point. So Dignitas really dictating right now to Team Summon.
And we have to take into consideration that these fights are looking a lot stronger for Dignitas. 1, the Bulwark is finished, and 2, Captain Korea didn't go for that death cap. He went for the Zonia, so he only has pen from the boots and not that much damage as they go in. A huge ultimate from Skara. They're all forced to bounce out. The crescendo a little late on the backside, but it still sounded good. Captain Korea's Zonias, while not taking any damage, and then gets popped out. They're just going to stand and defile. But Toy loves that.
He wanted to kill the ward, so he managed to finish off that 25 gold, and he knows he got his Chalice to heal up at the end of that. That was just Skara saying, I am so incredibly strong that I am initiating this fight with just me and Crumbs, because the crescendo missed. Cutie Pie got like 2 auto attacks off, and they still drove back the entire Team Summon team. Now it's all about trying to get this Baron before Team Summon can steal it, or peeling off and going for a fight.
Looks like they do have Baron down to about 3,000 HP. There is no long-range attack to come out from these guys. Sickle Shot just on the outside. Will he be able to get the smite down? It is going to Crumbs. They get the Baron. Looks like they're going to grab a Sickle Scott for themselves as well. And that is going to be another kill coming in for Skara. 9-1 and 9, 6-2 and 7 is 80 carry Cutie Pie right behind that.
3 more fresh kills for Dignitas and a fresh purple buff. They're going to be able to push through a lot of this battle. They've killed so many of Team Summon over and over again. That was a desperation steal by Sicko Scott, and it did not work.
We'll see these guys getting another turret. 8 turrets down. Like I said, there's 11 on the Rift. So that means this one in front of them, the 2 Nexus turrets, stand in their way for the first win.
And Team Summon still only has 2 people up. Locust just rezzed and he's going to be running in. They cannot realistically stop this. Scar's ultimate is back up again, so if Dignitas wants to fight at any point in this space, as long as they're not straight in the double Nexus turrets, they'd come out on top. Dignitas going to try to get as much control as possible and take that 3-lane push all the way home.
This is the wheelhouse for them. They have to feel so good about this right now. Knowing the momentum's in their favor, knowing they may be able to do this another game in a row. They didn't try to pull out anything crazy. We've seen the Skara Eve. We've seen that Kiwi Kid plays Elise. They're playing comfort zone right now, and this has to feel good for them.
Everyone has done well this game. Kiwi Kid survived the 1v2. Scar roamed well, and here might be the final fight.
Scar did roam well, and he also gets out of the fight well. Looks like Dignitas gets out. They get Kiwi Kid so he can repel if he needs to. The Crescendo does get a good hit across the team. TSM. Team Summon taking some damage from that Requiem. He finally goes down, and Korea cannot attack anymore. Double kill coming in for Skara. 11-1. Oh, come on. He got an assist there. He was ones all across the board until he went 11-1 and 12.
Oh dear, Scar, why didn't you have the perfectly binary score? But they're able to finish off these Nexus turrets, and that was a dominating Game 1 win for Dignitas.
So the first game of our first best of 5 of the day going to Dig, showing they are very dominant, very calm, cool and collected.
They know they need to win 3. Dignitas won a lot of games this year, and when they lost the ones that mattered, they got knocked into the promotion tournament. So all business for Dignitas after that first one, but still got to feel pretty good.